Hey, I'd like to welcome you to another episode of the Mission Matters Money Podcast, your source for all things money. My name is Adam Torres. You can follow me on Instagram at AskAdamTorres. Keep up with my book releases, book tour schedule, signings, all that other good stuff. Always love to connect with you there. And as always, if you'd like to apply to become a co-author of one of my upcoming books, just head on over to the website, missionmatters.com, and click on Become an Author to apply. All right, today I have Kevin Boyles on the line. He's Vice President of Business Development over at Millennium Trust Company. Kevin, welcome to the show.
Thank you very much, Adam. Thanks for having me.
All right, so excited to get today's topic with you today. It's a hot topic, so retirement savings for gig economy workers. A lot of people thinking about that right now. But before we get into that, I'd like to go a little bit further into what you're doing over at Millennium Trust Company. Tell us a little bit more about the firm, please.
Sure. So at Millennium Trust Company, we have a firm that goes to work every day with really one mission in mind, but a number of different solutions that work towards that end, and that's helping more Americans save for retirement, whether that's being able to save in IRAs through alternative investments, connecting lost participants with their money that was in 401k plans that they might not have known about, or workplace savings programs for small businesses that can't offer 401k plans and things like that. So we're passionate about providing retirement savings options for people, and it turns out gig economy people are people too.
So, and excited to get into that with you. But before we go further down the gig economy route, there's a lot of business owners, entrepreneurs, executives, a lot of gig economy workers listening to this podcast right now. What are the right types of individuals and/or businesses that are typically a good fit for Millennium Trust Company? Because at the end of this, I'm definitely going to give you an opportunity to leave the contact information and all that good stuff.
Sure. So we can service really anybody's retirement needs from a business perspective up to the point where a business is large enough to offer a full-blown 401k or defined contribution retirement plan. There are firms out there that are far better suited to offer that kind of thing. Where we're really focused is on smaller businesses where a 401k isn't the right fit, or for individual savers, sole proprietors, or gig economy workers that are looking for some ways to save for retirement as well.
Fantastic. And I think that's a great transition. So saving for retirement for gig economy workers, where do you want to start with this one? This is a big topic.
Sure. I mean, and it's hard to whittle it down into, kind of a narrow view. And I'll preface with that no matter how we try to do this today, it's going to be kind of narrow. And we, for the sake of time, we have to do that. But part of it is really understanding that gig economy workers are advantaged in some ways and disadvantaged in some other ways. I mean, I think what really hurts them the most is that people that aren't participating in the gig economy don't really understand what the gig economy is. So as a result, for example, most people don't realize that, 35% of all American workers did some sort of freelance work last year. So it's bigger than people realize. People also don't realize that, like 40% of gig workers are full-time. 60% are doing it because they want to do it. There's all those kinds of elements that maybe people don't know about. And so when you think about it through the lens of saving for retirement, it's difficult for those of us that work for a company where we're a W-2 employee to kind of get our heads around the challenges, because we inherently have so many advantages available to us by virtue of being employed at a firm. So, for example, I work at Millennium Trust Company. Millennium Trust Company offers a very nice 401k plan. In addition to offering a 401k plan, they offer a match. So when I put money into the 401k plan, Millennium Trust also puts money into the 401k plan. So if you think about it, if you're a freelancer, none of that's available to you. So you have to be much more proactive and assertive about how you handle, looking at what your opportunities are for saving for your own retirement. On the bright side, there are a lot of tax advantages for gig workers to be able to save for their own retirement. But I think as with most financial journeys, the most difficult step is often the first one for people.
Let's talk a little bit more about the thought process of why saving is so important, because I feel like a lot of people that are that maybe, like, let's say that you never worked for a large company. I think there's a big population of people that never really kind of went that route. They either worked for a smaller company or maybe even family-owned companies, or they were freelancers right out of college, and this whole saving for retirement thing has kind of been they hear about it, but it's not like like top of mind, but it's important because we're in a savings crisis here in this country.
Yeah, absolutely. And two keys there, I think, that you bring up that bear talking about just a little bit. One is definitely, especially gig economy work skews young. So if you look at over half of people that are between the ages of 18 and 22 are working in freelance economy, gig economy, which, by the way, gig workers hate being called gig workers, but we're going to keep using that term for now. So to your point, they come right out of college without really knowing what these other programs might look like. So the idea of saving, where most of us had it introduced to us by our employer, they don't really have that benefit. So they've got to be more in charge of their own destiny and understand the long-term implications. And it's also problematic for those people on the younger end of the spectrum, like millennials and Gen Z, because they're also coming out of college with more debt than anybody in history has ever had before. And, you know, you've got other economic challenges that face those people. So a lot of it's really just getting control of the mindset and really, depending on where you are on the age spectrum, determining, you know, how long am I going to live in retirement, right? Life expectancies are much longer than they used to be. And it's hard to get your head around that when you're 24 years old. I think I'm 52, and I think I just realized I was mortal maybe about a year and a half ago. So it's the kind of thing where it's an awareness. And then you've also got to try to balance it against all those other things. Is saving for retirement more important than having an emergency savings fund, where if you had a short-term emergency, I mean, you've seen, maybe Adam, you've seen this study that's been going around for the last almost 2 years now, where they found that, you know, 40% of Americans could not cover a $400 cash emergency. Something goes wrong with their car or whatever. And when you move that number up to $1,000, it was over 60% of the population. So that's a competing priority. So it's really a little bit about prioritization and a little bit about understanding, you know, all the different elements of where your life is now, where your life is going to go, and what's available to you. Retirement saving is different than emergency saving. They're both important, and you should probably look at doing both. But what's key about emergency saving is it's just really squirreling cash away for an immediate cash emergency or whatever. You know, they recommend you have 6 months salary, but it's very difficult for most people to do that. Now, retirement saving is a little bit different because A, it's longer term, and B, it's tax advantaged in most cases. So it doesn't cost you as much as you think it does. And I think even in people who have access to 401ks, it takes some training to get them used to the idea that, yes, if you put 5% of your paycheck away, that's 5% less money. But the reality is, because that comes out pre-tax, it doesn't really cost you the full 5%. So your take-home pay isn't really going down 5%. So in the gig world, it's the same thing. Pay yourself. Take advantage of that ability to get a tax write-off. And in some cases, for lower income people, they even get a tax credit in addition to the write-off for contributing to, let's say, an IRA or a Roth IRA. So there are a lot of ways to go about doing that. What's the benefit when you're younger? The benefit is, let's say you're 24 years old and I'm 54 years old, and you start putting $5,000 a year away into an IRA account. And you do that, and let's say you do that for 15 years, and then you stop, and you never contribute again. So here you are, you're 39 years old, and you've stopped. I start now at 54, and I contribute all the way up till I'm 70, when I can no longer contribute to an IRA. At the end of the day, you're going to have exponentially more money than I do because of the power of money and compounding over time, right? So I think that's what's generally lost on younger, uninitiated savers and people that weren't part of workplace savings programs, is that ability to get sooner is better, even if it's small. Nothing is too small. So stop thinking that, oh, if I can only put $20 a week away or $10 a week away, it's really not worth it. That's not true. It'll be worth it in the long run if you're able to do that, because it'll build progressively over time.
Man, that's awesome. So Kevin, that being said, I could talk to you about this all day long. I love what you're doing over there at Millennium Trust Company and how you're helping, your clients. If somebody is listening to this, so final question, two-part question. If somebody's listening to this and they want more information, first off, again, I know I asked this before, but I want to really drill this home. what are the right types of clients and or companies or people that are a great fit for Millennium Trust Company? And number two, what's the best way for them to reach out to learn more about saving and some of the things they should be doing?
The best place to go for the information that we have out there about saving and what we can do for people of all walks of life as it relates to retirement saving is www.mtrustcompany.com. And from there are navigation buttons and bars that can take you to any number of areas of interest that you might have. As to our sweet spot, we're really looking for people that are interested in saving for retirement. When you're just getting started for the gig worker, if you're just going to put a few dollars away, we can certainly help you with that, but you're probably better off in those cases doing more as it relates to saving that money in something like an account at a bank or a credit union than you would be at a trust company like Millennium Trust Company. What we really do at Millennium Trust Company is we work more closely with small businesses and smaller employers to be able to offer alternative retirement solutions to their employees, which we didn't talk about today, but that's really what we do. And as a result, for the gig workers, once they start to get some money saved up, we have a variety of sort of investment-based solutions that they could take advantage of, whether that's in an IRA, doing mutual funds, or a SEP IRA plan if they're a self-employed individual, all the way up to what's called a solo 401k, which is really for people that want to put a lot of money away.
Fantastic. Well, Kevin, really appreciate you coming on the show today and sharing more about all the great things you're doing over at Millennium Trust Company. And to the audience, as always, thank you for tuning in. Hope you got a lot of value out of this. If you did, don't forget to subscribe to the podcast, leave me a review on the Apple iTunes Store. And if you're watching this on our YouTube channel, Mission Matters Money, definitely give us a subscribe there, but also leave us some comments on the video. Love to know what kind of projects and things that you're working on. And Kevin, thanks again for coming on the show.